Greetings, everyone. It's good to see you all this morning. We have a delightful opportunity to learn about the world from the viewpoint of Ankara and much more, because I know you're not from Ankara, with the Turkish Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Mevlut Çavuşoğlu. It's a pleasure to see you this morning, Mr. Minister. Let me just open up and get right to it and ask you, many people are looking at Turkey and Turkey's foreign policy, how it's pursuing its interests in the world. And I'd like to know from you, to hear, what is driving Turkey's interest today? How does the world look from your perspective? What has changed? What's remained the same, say, over the last decade that is driving the choices you're making?
Well, to understand the Turkish foreign policy or priorities of the Turkish foreign policy, first of all, we should understand what's going on around us, particularly in last decade. Many fragilities around us. Failed and failing states. Terrorism, terrorist cells, foreign terrorist fighters, which is a challenge for not only for Turkey or for our region, but for many other countries. We captured foreign terrorist fighters from 125 countries, for instance. And other challenges around us, and irregular migratory flows coming from Syria and other countries. And we are surrounded by the conflicts with the frozen solutions. Nagorno-Karabakh is one of them, Ossetia, South Ossetia, Abkhazia, Crimea, and Transnistria, and posing threat to the stability in our region. And there are also countries in our region trying to grab the hydrocarbon resources that belongs to many others, I mean, to all of us. Therefore, the act of Turkey is not by choice most of the time, but by necessity. And we have to face all these challenges. That's why we have to be enterprising and very proactive. And also, we shouldn't forget the humanitarian aspects of our foreign policy.
As you sit in the middle of this complicated neighborhood, you have a number of failing states around you. Yeah. You did a deal with Europe to take in many of the refugees from the Syrian crisis and others. How to put this? Do you resent the way the world is looking? Do you feel like you're taking a burden that Turkey is not appreciated for?
In words, yes, appreciated. Everybody praised Turkey's efforts to host so many refugees. Also, that we are reaching the vulnerable people, particularly in Syria and beyond. But nobody is sharing this burden. This is the problem. We spent billions of dollars, more than $40 billion for the Syrian refugees only in Turkey. But what we receive from international community is not more than 1 billion. What we receive from European Union, even though we have this joint statement of 2016, is around 3 billion. But they pledged 6 billion by the end of 2018. It didn't work. And this is a huge burden. There are 1 million school-age Syrian kids in Turkey. And there are more than 400,000 newly born babies in Turkey. So this is a burden that we need to shoulder all together. But unfortunately, it didn't happen. That's why we need to, for instance, revive the joint statement of 2016, 18 March of joint statement of Turkey and the European Union. And as long as those problems continue in our region, and the problem of irregular migration or refugees will also continue. So we need to have new visions and strategy, and we need more solidarity to shoulder this burden. And after pandemic, there are estimations that more than 100 million people additionally will be mobilized, leaving their homes for this reason and that reason.
So let's take three hot spots right now. You mentioned Nagorno-Karabakh, Armenia and Azerbaijan. Let's take Libya, where you've got Turkish forces down there on one side of the Libyan coast, another controversial hotspot. You also have the exploratory ships and sort of the desire to sort of draw lines in the Aegean and the Eastern Mediterranean. Some observers are saying, wow, Turkey is on the prowl. Turkey is trying to sort of change the status quo in these various areas. Where do you take exception to that? Because it looks as if Turkey is trying to sort of change boundaries, change rules, intervene in places. What is your response to that?
First of all, we are committed to territorial integrity of countries in our region and beyond, including Syria, Libya, and the others. And everybody should be also committed to territorial integrity of Azerbaijan. You are right, the status quo has to be changed. But Turkey is not very ambitious to change the status quo alone. We have to change the status quo. It cannot continue like this. The territories of Azerbaijan, including Nagorno-Karabakh, under the occupation of Armenia for almost 3 decades, since 1992. We have Minsk Group, we have Minsk co-chairs, Russia, United States, and France. Has there been any solution or any credible efforts? No. So that's why Armenia is very much encouraged to attack Azerbaijani territories that are not under the occupation at this moment, in July and also recently. So we also believe in a peaceful and negotiated solution. But everybody has to understand the frustrations of Azerbaijan. Now Azerbaijan believe that they have to fight in their territory to get back their territories. They have to do that. And in other areas like Libya, we have engaged with the legitimate government that established after Sehrad Agreement in 2015, after long conferences in Rome, and also recognized by the United Nations. But some others engage, like France, with Haftar, putschs. And thanks to our engagement, Haftar couldn't enter into Tripoli. Otherwise, this war could be turned into an urban war. Then it could continue for decades. And we balance this situation on the ground. That's why now we can speak about the lasting ceasefire and also political process. So this situation had to be changed, and it was changed thanks to our engagement. And meanwhile, of course, we spent a lot of efforts in Istanbul, in Moscow, in Berlin conference. Now we support the ongoing talks, intra-Libyan talks. And also with regards to Eastern Mediterranean, I told you that there have been some countries trying to grab the hydrocarbon resources that belongs to all of us, including Turkey. And we were so patient until 2018 to start our activities. It started in 2003. Greek Cypriots signed agreements violating our rights and ignoring the Turkish Cypriots. With Egypt in 2003, then Lebanon, then Israel, and they gave licenses. And they started their drilling activities in 2011. And Turkey had to start its own drilling activities in 2018. We had to wait 7 more years. Meanwhile, we call on everybody for equitable sharing and delimitation. But unfortunately, constantly refused. And on the other hand, Greece has maximalist claims. And they have one Sevilla.
Oh, you brought charts.
Yes. This is the Sevilla map.
Yeah.
According to this Sevilla map, you can easily see nothing left for Turkey. You can see better here on this map. And this is the Greek claims, all these areas that you can see with Greek flag. And they are leaving only this much for Turkey. So we are talking about international law and legitimacy. So is there any international law and is there any court judgment that giving a right to a country like this? Or is there any country that can accept this? And in addition to that, I mean, based on this map, Greece is, claiming for island Costa which is only 2 kilometers away from Turkey. This is a very tiny island, 10 square kilometers, and 580 kilometers away from the mainland of Greece. And Greece is claiming for this very tiny island 40,000 square kilometer continental shelf or exclusive economic zone. That's why they are against our activities. And we have been conducting our activities, seismic research activities, in the areas that we registered to United Nations in 2004, and we gave the licenses in 2009 and 11. And meanwhile, of course, Germany and some other countries mediated, and we gave another chance for diplomacy and for meaningful dialogue with Greece. And hours before the release of the joint statement that we agreed with Greece to start exploratory talks and confidence-building measures between the militaries and political consultations, they went to Egypt and signed the agreement. You can agree or disagree with the contents of the agreement. That's another story. But hours before the release of this joint statement, signing an agreement and violating the Turkish continental shelf is not a goodwill. Unfortunately,
so let me try and understand
these are the problems
this.
that we have to take.
Yeah.
That's why I'm saying that we had to take actions, not by choice, but by necessity.
The world is watching this, and it's fascinating. You have warships. The Greeks have warships. They sort of meet up. Technically, you're sort of allies via NATO. Jens Stoltenberg, in my interview with him yesterday, talked about visiting both capitals, both leaders, and investing in de-escalation infrastructure, hotlines. So I guess my question to you is, how is the warship approach going, and what's the alternative?
Well, deconfliction is important. That's why we supported and appreciated efforts of Secretary General Jens Stoltenberg, and from the beginning. And we gave our consent to his statement. And Greece also did. After he made this statement, unfortunately, Greece rejected. I think because of the public opinion, public pressure. They are, we are more comfortable comparing with them as politicians. And then now they are okay. They are attending the meetings. We agreed on a joint statement. You can have disagreements on this and that, right or not, okay? But there shouldn't be any conflicts between allies. That's why we supported NATO's deconfliction efforts. Now it's going well. Why we had to send our ships over there? Because Greece sent their ships to attack Oruç Reis research ship. And they attempted, actually. And our ships had to stop them. That's why. And our ships and military has the clear order not to attack first. But if there is an attack, of course, they have to retaliate. This is the clear order to our military.
Let me just tell the audience, we're going to take questions from you here. We've got boom mics out here, and I've got a couple more, but then we'll be sure to get out to you in the minutes that we have ahead. How is, I hate to put it this way, the dance with the EU going? For years, there's been talk of the EU accession track. Do you believe that there's a real EU accession track? Is it still an objective of Turkey to try and go that route despite what seems to be a further and further away road?
There is a joke in Serbia. The question is, when is Serbia going to be a member of the European Union? The answer is during the Turkish presidency.
So have you given up?
Everybody, no, we are not giving up. We have been candidate country for 60 years, and we started negotiations at the same day with Croatia, and Croatia assumed the presidency very recently before Germany, by the way, and they are supporting our membership. Of course, it is personal, and some countries are against Turkey's membership. Of course, it is not personal at the same time, because EU is having problems with its own policies, including enlargement policy. And they almost concluded the negotiations with Montenegro, but they stopped the accession talks with Montenegro. And it took time to give a date for other Western Balkan countries, North Macedonia and Albania. So because of the problems within the European Union. But at this moment, there is a stalemate in our accession talks. But we are very open, and we have been telling European Union that Turkey is ready to meet all the opening benchmarks of any chapter. And Turkey is ready to conclude, actually, to meet the closing benchmarks as well, to conclude all these negotiations at any chapter. But EU is at the same time, criticizing Turkey for this and that, but they are not allowing to open the most critical chapters, 23 and 24 on human rights, rule of law, this and that, security, most important chapters. They are not allowing to open this. Okay, there is a stalemate. But are there other areas that we can continue working together? Yes, of course. I just mentioned
you're still up for the dance.
Yes, migration. Yeah. And we have agreements. Visa liberalization is one of them. And modernization of the custom unions agreement. This is mutually beneficial, by the way. So there, security, countering terrorism, and there are many areas we can work.
So you're sending the message to Europe right now, you're still interested?
Of course, Turkish people are interested, even though there is a lack of trust, even though there have been many disappointments. And if EU wants to be a global actor, to face the challenges, EU should be engaged with the countries like Turkey and other countries like Turkey.
Now, let me just ask you finally, before I go to the audience, Russia and NATO. It looks to some observers like Turkey has one big foot in NATO and, is a robust member of the NATO alliance. On the other hand, you've bought these S-400, air defense system. You're flirting with Russia a little bit, and some folks are confused.
Flirting with Russia?
Yeah. So I guess the question is, are you hedging your bets? Do you not trust NATO to be the security partner you want? What's going on with the S-400 system and a kind of alternative security set of arrangements that's caused a lot of ulcers, I guess, for some of your allies?
Well, NATO is at the center of our security strategy. This is for sure. And if you look at the NATO's activities and the missions, Turkey is in top 5 contributors. And we are very much committed. And what we need is that NATO should adapt itself to the new realities. And it is actually, NATO is spending a lot of efforts. There are some mechanisms, actually, and Turkey is also represented there. That is, also we need strong solidarity. And NATO's solidarity shouldn't be actually sacrificed for the solidarity within European Union. And therefore, we believe in NATO system. But we prefer, of course, to purchase our needs, defense industry needs. All items from NATO allies. Does Turkey need the air defense systems? Yes or yes. And it is an urgent need for Turkey. Did Turkey try to purchase those items from the United States and other NATO allies? Yes. But were Turkey able to purchase from them? No. Unfortunately, we couldn't purchase from the United States.
Donald Trump said no to a deal?
He tried. He tried, but
he couldn't get it done.
The Congress should give its consent. Unfortunately, he couldn't. That's why, look at I just mentioned some of the challenges around us that we have to face and the threats. So I have to buy from somewhere. Even today, some EU countries are actually not giving the defense licenses for defense items that we need from those countries. But I need them. So if they don't want to sell to Turkey, then I have to buy from somebody else. And in this case, Turkey shouldn't be criticized for this.
Right.
And Turkey's NATO membership shouldn't be questioned. Shouldn't be questioned. That's why I had to buy S-400s from the United States, from Russia. And today, I'm still trying to purchase those goods from the United States, those kind of goods, air defense systems, also from Eurosam. I mean, this is an Italian-French consortium.
Right.
They have something.
Right.
We want to buy from them. We want to work with our NATO allies. That it doesn't mean that, I mean, when I have to buy from another country, it doesn't mean that I turn my back to NATO. So I don't believe in NATO. of course.
But it does, I mean, we got to go to the audience. I wish we had an hour to get. Next time, we had got to do this for more time.
Sure.
But it sounds like there's a trust deficit, or at least some trust dips inside the alliance that have caused some of these issues. Because it is a function of levels of trust, is it not?
I'll give you one example. In Idlib this year, Turkey had to stop the aggression of the regime and its supporters alone, with my own capacity. And I didn't only stop the aggression, but at the same time, I stopped the mass flow of additional more than 1 million refugees to our borders. It means to Europe. It's also a very sensitive issue in this country, Slovakia, I mean, irregular migration.
Excellent. Right here, yes.
This microphone is huge. My name is Emine Japar. I'm the First Deputy Minister of Foreign Affairs of Ukraine. Sayın Bakanım, sizin burada görmek çok memnunum. Hoş geldiniz.
Yeah.
And my question, I will reflect a little bit that my country is really going through the toughest period in its history. 6 years of war, occupation of Crimea that you mentioned already.
Right.
So my question is about the Black Sea. Is there a flirt on the Black Sea with Russia? Because we believe that there are 6 submarines of Russia, which is enough to control the whole equatorium of the Black Sea. And do you feel insecure because of the militarization of Crimea and its consequences for the control of the Black Sea?
Great, thank you. And if you can do it in about a minute.
Emine, thank you very much. You will get more questions to answer.
Yeah, no, go ahead.
Okay. Emine, we import gas from Russia and oil, of course, and we have good trade with Russia. Russia is, I think, number 2 trade partner of Turkey. But we never flirt with Russia. For instance, Russia wanted to enter Libya. They proposed us. We said no 2-3 years ago. But they entered Libya together with France, another NATO ally. And with regards to Crimea and eastern part of Ukraine, Turkey is one of the strongest supporters of Ukraine's territorial integrity. And we will never recognize the illegal annexation of Crimea. Unfortunately, some of our Western allies already forgotten Crimea. And together with some other countries like Lithuania and other Baltic states and Poland and other European countries, we should continue supporting you and also Crimean Tatars. So we are not flirting, and we are against, the Black Sea, and we are against any kind of aggression in Black Sea.
Yes, sir. Real fast.
My name is Nikos Nikolaou, Ambassador of Cyprus to Slovakia. I would like to kindly ask Turkish Minister, for the sake of regional security in Eastern Mediterranean, will Turkey, in the future, according to the international law, stop illegal activities in the exclusive economic zone of the Republic of Cyprus and the continental shelf of Cyprus? And will Turkey withdraw the occupation force 40,000 troops around from the Republic of Cyprus following the invasion in 1974.
Thank you. The Cyprus question.
Thank you very much. I wonder which law is telling that Turkey's activities are illegal. It's only according to the Greek Cypriots, and the countries are supporting within the European Union, supporting the Greek Cypriots. I have a question to you, Ambassador. Do you admit that Turkish Cypriots also have rights on hydrocarbon resources around Cyprus?
Except he's going to have to answer that outside the room.
Do you admit that? But let me answer on behalf of you.
Yes.
Your leader, Anastasiadis, admits this. But why don't you ensure equitable revenue sharing? What Turkish Cypriots are asking is very fair. Equitable revenue sharing. And they made proposals in 2011, 2012, 2019. Why did you reject that? And you are talking about Turkish troops over there. All these issues negotiated within Annan Plan, also in Kran Montana. And Turkish Cypriots, and with the support of Turkey, actually supported this Annan Plan at the referendum. Why did you reject that in 2004? Why did you reject all the proposals in 2017 in Kran Montana? Let me tell you, let me answer this question. Because you don't want to share anything with Turkish Cypriots. This is what Anastasiadis is telling. This is what your leaders are telling there. You don't want to share anything. He told me that Greek Cypriots don't want to share even the hospitals with Turks. That's why they cannot agree on any settlement. That's why he had to step back. So you mine on your irregularities and also violations of the rights of Turkish Cypriots. And Turkey is the guarantor, one of the guarantor countries in Cyprus, and Turkey is obliged to protect the rights of the Turkish Cypriots, period.
With that, we're going to have to end it. I want to thank Minister Çavuşoğlu for a very candid assessment. I look forward to having you back for a full hour. I want to thank all of you. Just as we close, I want to tell you that here in 5 minutes, there'll be 3 Visegrad foreign ministers joining you. And if you'd like to join in the Habsburg room, you get me again moderating a forum about AI and the future of war. So I want to thank you so much, Mr. Minister. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you, Steve. Thank you very much.
Great conversation. Thank you.